thinking, man, why must I chase the cat?
Catching me chit-chatting. Good evening and welcome to Posse Presents. It's another cold night out. I'm gonna sing that same old tune to start off and say, please bring your pets inside. Don't leave them out. There are laws in Connecticut. About 15 minutes is about all that really legally you can and should leave them out there. I know that my dogs have a problem in less than that. It's just too cold. The snow on the ground makes it even colder. It's not fair. It's not legal. It's not right. It's not humane. And it's not moral to leave your dogs and cats out in the cold. So please, please, please be aware that if it's too cold for you, it's too cold for them. And let them in the house. It's just, it should be common sense, but may she rest in peace. There was a teacher I had in high school that used to say, common sense is not so common. And God, is that true? It really is. Anyway, we are at the start of a new year, and I think we're into the new season too, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're into a new season, and this marks 3 years, January 8th, that I've been on the air with Posse Presents. So I'm kind of not trying to pat myself on the back, but I will. Made it through 3 years, and I couldn't have done it without everyone's support, without the fabulous guests that I've had, without people watching and being involved. People watching either whether it's at home when it's a live broadcast or at home on YouTube, the people who share the show. You're all very much a part of any success that we have here in, promoting and saving animals and education. And I just want to say I appreciate you. I thoroughly appreciate and would be lost without my crew. Speedo, who sits here in the sidelines with me and hits that favorite record button, and Zach in the studio, who's standing up making faces at me. Yeah, without Zach, no matter, Speedo and I can run laps around the studio. Without Zach, we wouldn't have a show. So, young man, don't ever go anywhere because we need you. Yeah, he's like, he doesn't have a life. But, that's to our benefit, right? You are now officially not allowed to have a life, Zach. He's like, all right. He's just too silly. Anyway, so yep, 3 years on the air. Almost 13,500 hits on YouTube, which for a small local cable show, I'm not going to say feels too bad. Go ahead and keep watching and keep sharing, and let's get those numbers up. That's not a bad thing either. There's, some shows that are timeless, kind of like the Wolf Show, which was seriously, one of my highlights, that's for sure. But yeah, keep watching. All the shows are on YouTube. It's the Posse Presents channel, so feel free to go check out any of the old ones. And, the only thing that I've ever hoped to do with the show is make a difference, and I hope I have. It's my heart is the animals, and if I can help if I can help one, that's just, that's gravy for me. I enjoy doing the show. I enjoy the fact that I've been able to meet some really great people, reconnect with some old friends, and get some awareness for some of the issues that animals are facing out there. And again, I do that with your help, and I appreciate one and all. So I'm going to give a little shout out, birthday shout out, to someone who I've never met. And I love her on Facebook, and we keep throwing out that whole, oh, we've got to meet, we've got to get together. I've told her she can come and sit in on a show one night because I think she'd like that. She's expressed an interest. We know her on Facebook as Julia Murphy Klein, and her birthday is tomorrow. So I just want to say I hope you have a wonderful day. She is a great supporter of animals, and she is a great supporter of me. I don't know how I get so lucky to have some of these people in my corner, but I appreciate it. So Julia, happy birthday. This one's for you. Now, we skipped last week because of the weather, And so the week before the show was the week after Christmas. And I had posted on Facebook that if anybody wanted me to show the pictures of the Christmas pictures of their pets, I would be happy to do it. And I had a few, and I told this story a couple of weeks ago. My buddy Bert from Bert's Brigade shared my post kind of just before I left the house. So suddenly I had a flurry of people submitting their pictures, and I had to cut it off because I had to get here. As a matter of fact, I was a few minutes late because I was still trying to accommodate and download people's pictures. So I had to cut it off, and I got quite a few more. So I'm going to start tonight. I was going to do it last week, but of course we didn't have studio time last week because of the weather. I'm going to pick it up this week, and my promise was that I would still show the pictures. So we're going to do that for all of those who didn't make the show 2 weeks ago. We're going to start with Harley. And Harley is too adorable, sporting his Christmas hat. And Harley lives with Linda Fulkerson. And I just love that little face. That little Chihuahua face gets me every time. He's too adorable. I would love to see like the bigger picture of that hat, but we'll take what we got because it's cute. The next one up we have is Cody. And Cody is enjoying the Christmas lights. That's like a real peaceful and serene Christmas. That's almost good enough to be a Christmas card, It really is. I can see it now. But there's Cody relaxing under the Christmas tree. And Cody lives with Carol Davis. The next one we have is Scooby-Roo. And Scooby is recently rescued. This is his first Santa visit, and he looks like he's doing really well with it. And what a beautiful dog. I love to see people's pictures. I love to see their pets. Yeah. And, those Santa ones, I used to do that whole thing with Santa. And, you get to a point where either you have too many dogs to do it with, or you have dogs that don't behave out in public. I resemble that remark. So you don't do it anymore. Anyway, there is Scooby-Roo with his first Santa visit, and Scooby-Roo lives with Tammy Bays. Our next one up is Diva and Dixie. Now, Diva has her new shirt on there, and Dixie is getting snuggles from her Auntie Tina. And there is a page that Diva has. It's Diva and Denise Woodruff on Facebook. And these little babies live with Melissa Woodruff and look like they're got the best of Christmas there. Next up, we have Rocky and Gunner. No. Oh, does it really? Was there another one? No. Ooh, I may have a little makeup to do. It's actually also the Max picture. It's what picture? It's Max and Rocky and Gunner. I just realized that. It's the same picture with two different labels. Oh, that's not cool. All right, well, apparently I missed one. Let's put that aside for now. We have Isabella and Coco. There they are, enjoying the Christmas sunshine. And they look really relaxed. And I don't know where they are that they have such sunshine for Christmas, but it's a beautiful thing. And Isabella and Coco live with Sherry Knight. Next up, we have Dexter. And Dexter is wearing his festive bandana. And that's a sweet face right there, looking very endearing. And Dexter also lives with Sherry Knight. And we've got Crystal from Bert's Brigade. Now, I had shown Thomas and Wyatt and Bert, but apparently I missed Crystal. And Crystal is, yes, a very big turtle type young lady. And unfortunately, Bert calls her Helmet Girl, but that's something that you have to know Bert to understand. But Crystal got her Christmas, and she looks really happy with that. And she is part of Bert's Brigade. Now we have Chief. And Chief, it's a little blurry, but Chief got his new toy for Christmas. And Chief looks like he's going to be busy for a while, that's for sure. Chief lives with Rose Armeline and is probably still chewing on that toy. Next we have Doug the little black pug, and he is adorable with his little reindeer that someone sent him. And Doug has his own Facebook page, which is Doug the little black pug. And Doug lives with Zarin Clark. And I just, pugs are so cool. They make the coolest noises if you know any pugs. And they snort and snore and snarkle and make all kinds of noises. My best friend has a pug, and they're absolutely cool dogs. But that's Doug the little black pug. Go check him out on Facebook. Next we have Eddie. And Eddie is a therapy cat, and this was his Christmas Eve rounds. And Eddie lives with Terry Jennings, who has been a guest on the show. She had Dog the therapy cat on one night when she came on, and that was a really cool experience because, you don't think of cats being therapy animals, but they absolutely are. And we also got to meet Baxter another night, and this makes the 3. Also, we have Mac, who is 15 years old, getting photobombed by Chica. And Mac also belongs to Terry Jennings. She has herself a house full, obviously. And it's really cool to see like an old dude hanging out and being well taken care of, At 15 years old, he's in bonus years, that's for sure. And bless his little heart. Now we have Max, which I don't know what I did here, and I owe somebody an apology, that's for sure. Max is wrapped and ready for Christmas, and I think that's so cute. I couldn't balance anything on any of my dogs' heads. It would be disastrous, I'm sure. They would never sit still for it. But Max lives with Joni Manzer. Next we have Tigger. And Tigger is a reluctant elf. I love the little ears. I love the little ears on that hat. But Tigger also lives with Joni Manzer. And I just love the expression. You can tell it's reluctant for sure. Next we have Roxy. And Roxy sadly is now at the bridge. Here she was wondering what all the fuss was about for Christmas. And Roxy is Joni Manzer's bridge baby. We have next Maggie. And Maggie is modeling a new sweater. And I think that's another adorable little G face. That looks like a sweater that someone actually took a lot of time to make with the fuzzy yarn. It looks like it's probably handmade. Very special little gift. And Maggie lives with Maureen Kelly. Next we should have Holly and Ripley. And Holly and Ripley are waiting for Christmas treats. And, they're the one there looks like an oldie, and the other one not so much. But again, it's so nice to see, the older dogs getting spoiled and loved the way they should, and kind of got that little tail in motion. You could see a little blurriness with the tail, so you know that somebody loves their treats. Anyway, Holly and Ripley live with Deborah Heidel Mugen, if I'm saying that correctly. And it looks like they were all set and ready for Santa's visit with their sweaters and getting their Christmas treats. Lastly, we have Brad. And Brad seems to have been helping the family open Christmas presents. A lot of us are familiar with this mayhem on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve whenever you open your presents. Paper everywhere and, the mess that someone has to clean up at some point. But Brad is actually not even in the States. Brad is across the pond in England with good friend Marie Marsh, who runs the Rescue Cocoa page and who I have mentioned any number of times. And so there's Brad. And, you know, if I remember correctly, there's a happy birthday that has to go out to Marie, too. She tries to hide her birthday. And it just comes to me now that it was very close to my own father's birthday, which was January 6th. So let's say it's safe to say happy birthday, Marie, who is Brad's mom again. And, you know, she tries to be sneaky. She doesn't put it out there on Facebook. But, you know, I just had that flash of memory. So in addition to the Christmas picture, we want to wish a very special happy birthday in the middle of all these pictures to Marie. She only thinks she's smart trying to hide it. That's all I'm going to say about that. So there was no more of those pictures now, Zach? No, but no more of the Christmas pictures? So I did mess up Rocky and Gunner, and I'm going to have to do that again next week. And I have to apologize to Connie Bilsma, because apparently, as on top of things as I thought I wasn't. So we will have one more Christmas picture next week, and I feel awful about that because I was trying to be so careful, and apparently I labeled the same picture twice. And I bet you if we look in that flash drive, which we can't do while we're on the air, we'd find the picture. God knows what I labeled it as, though, because apparently I labeled something twice. Anyway, my apologies. I will take the camera back, and I am going to tell a sad story. I'm kind of aghast at the fact that I don't know how many weeks ago this happened, but there was a fire in a home in Waterbury. And the family had 3 dogs. Apparently, one got out. The dogs all survived, before I make it sound the wrong way. The dogs all survived, and the family's been trying to place their dogs. So one was taken in, from what I understand. A second one has an adopter, but apparently there's no sense of urgency for this adopter, and they're not picking the dog up until next weekend, from what I read tonight. The third dog is not spoken for, but these dogs, folks, are still in the home where the fire was with no heat. We call ourselves rescuers, yet we're not doing very much to help these dogs, and it's got me kind of twitching, I'm not going to lie. Let's see the picture of Nana, who is the last dog who needs a place to go. Now, Nana is 7 years old. She's unspayed. She's not up to date on her shots. And, you know, I'm not trying to pass the judgment on any of that. My concern is that there are 2 dogs in a home with no heat. I have a little bit of an issue with an adopter who doesn't have a sense of urgency. But even if they did, that would leave this poor dog, and look at that face, I just want to love on her, in a home with no heat. It's been below 0 with the wind chill factor. It's going to be 7 degrees tonight. There is no way, even inside, this dog or the other dog or any of these dogs would be warm enough. No way. There have been times where we've had storms and lost power, and we're all cold and crying and complaining. And, you know, we bundle up and we do what we can. Sometimes, you know, a dog doesn't know well enough to stay under blankets, or, you know, can't do anything to keep itself warm. This is not a long-haired breed. This is not a dog bred for cold weather. This is a pit bull, folks, with short hair, with, you know, no real protection against the cold. And these dogs are in a house that doesn't have heat. I can't say that. I'm still trying to digest it. You know, I've posted on a few of the shares of this, trying to inquire. I couldn't believe that, you know, this dog would still be in need. I'm pretty sure that if anybody has a problem with the fact that she needs shots and she needs to be spayed, I'm sure that there could be sponsorship for that, just as I'm sure that there has to be something people can do to band together to get these dogs, the 2 of them, the vetting that they need to get into boarding and to get them into short-term boarding. There's just no excuse for them to be cold. Now, I understand that they're being checked on daily, but that's just not good enough. I know nothing prepares us for disasters. We all think it's not going to happen to us. These two dogs need help ASAP. They shouldn't have to spend another night in the cold. It's just got me so upset. I'm not even going to lie. There's got to be something that can be done. There's got to be someone somewhere that can house the other dog until these proposed adopters can take it in. There's got to be someone who can offer Nana a warm place to lay her head until she's found a home for. There's got to be better, much better, that we as rescuers, that we as human beings can do to help. There really does. I mean, I can give the family credit for not just dumping them at the pound, but I just have a problem with them sitting in a cold house. I really do. There is a contact number for a person named Maribel, and the number is 203-465-9987. Once again, that's 203-465-9987. I would love to see, before I get home tonight, that something has been done to help this situation. I know that I tagged a whole bunch of people to one of the posts, one of the threads about these dogs, and I'm really hoping that someone can help work something out. Really, there's got to be a way to get them vetted adequately so that they can go into boarding and be put into a warm spot just until, better can be done. They should not. No animal should be subjected to the cold. And I'm going to get off my high horse because I'm watching the time and it's flying. Anyway, I will take the camera back. And I'm going to, again, we skipped last week, so we're a little behind on topical situations here. But it's been 3 years since a dog named Andy went missing. And if you look over my shoulder on this side, because we're reversed, there is Andy's original lost poster. Now, Andy went missing shortly after Pound Posse Presents went on the air. It was New Year's Eve. He was startled by fireworks, and he slipped his collar. They were visiting in Westport, which was far from Plymouth, Mass, where Andy was from. There was an epic search that ensued. He led his mom and dad on a wild chase. They went through several towns in lower Fairfield County, Norwalk, Rowayton, Westport, craziness. He was being seen everywhere. He was on the move. Andy found another dog who had been on her own. And I say Andy found her. It was the search for Andy that uncovered the fact that a dog named Lana, who had been out on her own for almost 2 years, was in the neighborhood where the search was on for Andy. And she was successfully trapped and returned to the shelter that had adopted her out. They actually welcomed her back with open arms. She was one of those situations where within a day she bolted from her home. Apparently the people who adopted her didn't feel enough for her to pursue finding her, getting her back. They didn't want her back. I wouldn't have given her back, that's for sure, after you let a dog run around like that on her own and not care. But that was good news for Lana, and she was put back into the foster home who had her before she was adopted, and those people did adopt her. So now Lana is in her forever former foster home. Not even a case of foster failure. I think that they just decided that she was happy there and that's where she should stay. But, the search for Andy brought a lot of people together. There are friends that I have now on Facebook and in my personal life that I met through the search for Andy. I was one of those people who went down in those early days and tried to help. And it was, amazing to see how many people came together, just amazing. People were strangers coming together, banding together, working together. And, the search for Andy taught many of us how to find a lost dog. His mom, Jordina, did a great job in researching the proper protocol, the ways that you should and shouldn't approach it. And she shared her experience with all of us. And there are some who were involved in the search for Andy who have gone on to, help other people get their pets back. And it's just an amazing trickle effect. Jordina herself launched a new career with Lost Pet Professionals, and she now is a very successful dog tracker herself. She's been outfitted with a team of search dogs. She's done amazing things. If you check out the Lost Pet Professionals Facebook page, you can see all kinds of stories of Jordina and the reunions that she grants these people. It's amazing to see this in motion. The sad part is that Andy has never been caught. He's still out there. When he went missing, he was 11. 3 years later, he could still be out there. There are stories where animals survive for long periods of time. Zach, let's get the pictures up of Andy. That is him, and he's obviously a Corgi, in case you don't know. That face is just killer. We have his poster, which is his current poster, as opposed to the one that I have promised to keep on my background until there is resolution. It was always until he's found, but you never know. It's a sad possibility. You don't know. And we may never know, but Andy's original poster will stay up forever. Anybody who has any information at all about Andy, please call the number that you see on your screen, which is 781-264-5243. Once again, that's 781-264-5243. It's just amazing to think that, he could still be out there. He's been very crafty. He's been very sneaky. He's been in so many different places. He apparently knows how to survive. And, it's Andy that taught us all about survival mode and, what happens to a dog that's out on its own. It reverts to its instincts. And so anyway, let's all pray for Andy that he could be found still and give Jordina that closure that she deserves, because I want to go to that welcome home party. Anyway, I'm going to say peace, love, and dogs. And to Connie, I will show your picture next week. I'm so sorry. Have a great night, and thanks for watching.